Hello, everyone. Back with another essay read. This one is about if I was DC Comics Chief Creative Officer. And it's just a creative exercise for what I might do to get my imagination flowing. I might even use some of these ideas for my own comics, since I am not the DC Comics or ever will be their chief creative officer. Okay. I will briefly suggest some business ideas that I think would be needed to revitalize the company in the long term. The books keep their current page count, which I think at this time is 22 pages a book. They have a $4 price tag. The maximum number of variant covers is 1. Make it a good one. There's too many variant covers. It's a scheme, and it's not a good long-term business model. All runs are to be 24 issues minimum. So basically, if you don't think you can make it to 24 issues, you don't make the book. That means there's not a big enough market for the book. This allows writers to plan, be able to plan full stories rather than try to cram everything in their 4-issue arc. Fill-in artists are acceptable, but only for one-shots or annuals. So basically, the run has one writer, one artist, except for annuals and one-shots. That means if an artist is slower, that you have more issues in the can, right? All titles will have 6 issues completed before anything is published. Well, that's where I said there. Boost page rates for artists and writers and offer royalties for books selling about 50K. This one I took from Mark Miller. He's the one that suggested better royalties thing. It incentivizes people to do better work and market their work, and hire Perch as marketing consultant. Perch is he is a consultant. He works in tech, if I'm not mistaken. He has a YouTube channel where he discusses comics, and his best videos are always the ones where he discusses the business of comics, and he has a really solid handle on it. He's also been a retailer, so he really understands the business at multiple levels. Yes, the above is expensive, especially having all titles 6 months in the can before publishing. But you have Warner Brothers as a sugar daddy, so shake that thing and get that money. Ground rules. We cut down the line to 12 titles. That way we will have a monthly publishing schedule where 3 DC books are on the shelves every week. For a reader, that means $12 a week if they want to read everything. They will, and in the process form a habit of buying all DC titles and be immersed in the DC universe as a whole. By the way, this is for monthly published comics only. Reprints of classic stories will still be published. So this implies you don't reprint everything. Only the best stories get a trade paperback. It creates the sense of rarity, and it really incentivizes people to write good stories. Okay, here are the 12 titles: Batman, Detective Comics, Suicide Squad, eventually, Superman, Action Comics, Green Lantern, Green Lantern Corps, The Flash in Deep Space, Wonder Woman, eventually, Wonder Woman, Amazonian Legends, and Justice League, eventually. So some of these you're just not going to be publishing to create a demand, to create a, let these go fallow, to create a desire to see them back. It goes without saying that we get good writers and artists with a proven track record. here's how I'd go about getting this new line set up. So here's the Batman, Detective Comics, Green Lantern, and Green Lantern Corps. We will kick it off with the 3-issue story arc in Green Lantern, crossing over into Batman and Detective Comics. The result would be that Hal Jordan is established as the only Lantern of Sector 2814. All other Lanterns except John Stewart are assigned to the Green Lantern Corps as a cosmic SWAT team assigned various missions by the Guardians of Oa, and only occasionally coming to Earth to deal with extra formidable threats. This is to really create a sense of uniqueness and create a sense that each character has its own role that is special to them. In this reshuffle, some events cause John to lose his cool and therefore his ring. Without powers, he gets a job at GCPD, Gotham City Police Department, working alongside Gordon, Bullock, Montoya, and Batman, and various Bat family characters. Here we get to see him shine and see how his experience as an intergalactic cop makes him especially skilled. Now, if you want to swap Hal Jordan with John Stewart or whatever makes the most sense, that's fine. Detective Comics becomes a Gotham City, a GCPD John Stewart-centric book for 12 issues, where various old and lower tier Green Lanterns villains band together and come to Gotham to exact revenge on a ringless John. This puts Batman, John Stewart, GCPD, and Gotham in a new situation and gives old villains a chance to come back and get new fans. Whichever of these new or old villains connects the most with the fan base are recruited in the Suicide Squad alongside old standbys, and this launches the new Suicide Squad. So here the philosophy is that we create new villains and resurrect old ones, and the ones that work, you promote them, but those that don't, you let them go, right? It's a fan-centric strategy. Having found his confidence again, John gets his ring back and becomes the leader of the Green Lantern Corps. Wonder Woman and Justice League. Wonder Woman is a cool character, but she has 2 challenges to overcome. She is treated as a feminist icon, and she has a mostly bland rogues gallery. My plan is iconoclasm and getting her good villains. First, we relaunched the Wonder Woman title as Wonder Woman Amazonian Legends. We model it after the Legends of the Dark Knight title and tell a bunch of 1 to 3 issue arcs by various writers and artists all about the adventures of Wonder Woman and the Amazonians across history. So the thing with so I do explain that later, so let's keep reading. This title has shades of Hyperborea, which is the Conan world, and contains no stories fawning over how perfect Diana is. We don't shy away from violence, cater to the men and teenage boys, and we show young Diana making some mistakes that take centuries to correct. We also see the formation of the Amazonian culture. Wonder Woman and the Amazons are essentially immortal, so we lean into this. The title encompasses all of human history since about 300 BC. We run that for a few years and never insert trendy politics. The stories will be informed by the history of the world instead of politics du jour. After about 35 issues of this, we end up at the present day and in a 3-issue arc. A time-traveling villain offers all the best villains from the Legends run a chance at a new life in the present timeline. These villains come back and plot to take down Wonder Woman and the Amazons. They win, but are thwarted in an epic 4-issue arc where the Justice League is reassembled to get the job done. This launches the new Justice League and the new Wonder Woman solo title. It establishes the new Wonder Woman status quo as a suitable for all ages character, expands her supporting cast, and gives her and the Justice League an expanded rogues gallery. Superman and Action Comics. Mark Millar is on record as saying he has an epic Superman story to tell, but DC isn't keen on it. Mark is willing to wait until Superman becomes public domain. As DC Comics chief creative officer, I would negotiate a deal to get this story from Mark. He would have complete creative freedom. The only stipulation is that he has to set things up so the next writer has something to pick up and run with. And he works with the creative team of Action Comics to have it run in tandem with the Superman title. It is absurd that Mark is basically dangling a carrot in front of DC, but they aren't going for it. Mark writing Superman is a guaranteed hit. Thought I had something to say about this part. Yeah, you should check out Mark's YouTube channel, Millar Time. He's got great interviews with other creators there. The Flash and the Flash in Deep Space. This is the one that I'm most likely to integrate into my own comics world. The Flash title is to focus on Wally West exclusively after a 3-issue arc where Barry becomes fascinated with testing a theory about the Speed Force's relationship to space-time. Barry discovers the Speed Force bends not only time but also space, and as such can easily travel to the furthest reaches of the universe. He goes out there and discovers that deep space is a sort of sci-fi savage land that is in the grip of a tyrannical, villainous race of aliens. This area of space is so remote, not even the Green Lanterns operate there. Barry Allen decides to remain in deep space as the Flash. This launches a new title called The Flash in Deep Space. We lean into the Silver Age wackiness, but not camp. After about 35 issues, Barry realizes he needs help in the new frontier. He returns to Earth and recruits a super team comprising of Kyle Rayner Green Lantern, Shazam, Green Arrow, Black Canary, and Dr. Fate, or basically any character that doesn't sell high but has a fan base and would be quirky and cool. I would put Detective Chimp in there. There can be a rotating cast a la Justice League Unlimited cartoon. Together they form the Guild of Justice, and the big roster all go to deep space to rout the bad guys once and for all. But in the process, they lose the ability to go back. They remain in deep space, and the title is renamed The Guild of Justice in Deep Space. It is not renumbered at number 1. New heroes and villains are built up over another 30 issues. At some point, one of the new villains figures out a way back and forth, and shenanigans ensue. It's at this point that we have a crossover event with the new heroes and villains of deep space. So you see the theme here is basically to always give each character its own domain that other characters can't belong to. It's to make each character matter, right? Conclusion. You'll notice that the focus here is on putting the same characters in new situations. This is to deliver both classic and fresh in the same dish. When you hear fans seemingly contradicting themselves, asking for new things and the classic things at the same time, this is what they mean. They aren't asking for Batman with blonde hair or Hispanic Hawkman. They just want the characters they love in a fresh situation to see how the heroes will react. The only character that we will be making some changes to is Wonder Woman, but we are making that palatable by putting that characterization in the past so we don't harm her current tone. This pitch also makes an effort to respect the highest profile legacy characters, not by making them all compete for the same spotlight, but by carving out a domain of their own for them to feature in. Personally, I dislike legacy characters. I think there should be one of each hero. Passing the mantle dilutes both the original hero and the new one. But the legacy characters are there and they have fans, so we have to treat them respectfully. Finally, we don't need to tell a big crisis level story. There is no need for a story about stories. We just tell smaller short stories and jump right into the new status quo without explaining more than necessary. So here I'm queuing up a question for you that you can answer in the comments. What would you do if you had the creative reins of a comics publisher? Thank you. I'll see you in the next one.